All right, let's keep it real. Every year people talk about goals. But in 2026, it's not about goals. It's about wages. Because whether you admit it or not, you've already been betting on something. Question is, this year, are you ready to bet on yourself? Not blindly, not emotionally, but with intention. What up? It's your guy, DJ Foreign. Welcome to the Foreign Frequency. Another episode here, whether you're listening on my podcast, of course, that you could catch anywhere, or here on YouTube. I want to say a Happy New Year to you. Hope you and your family and your loved ones made it through the New Year's Eve and the New Year's celebration the right way, safely. I wanted to kick off this year with a brand new episode, 5 days in. Yeah, it's the 5th of January, 2026, as we speak. 5 days in, and a lot of people, have goals, set goals, and say, hey, for the next year, this is what I'm doing. Your goal might be health. It might be wealth. It might be getting closer together with your family. It might be something to do with your job. It might be some, you want to elevate in some kind of way. And that's a beautiful thing. But way too often we make goals for ourselves that never really flourish. Like, think about it. This time last year, what was the goals that you made for 2025? And how many of those joints did you accomplish? Some people wanted to be more wealthy. They wanted to make more money. Did you make that money? Did you take the steps to make that money? Some people wanted a different job. Did you take the steps to be able to arm yourself, to be able to go out and get that dream job of yours, or that dream car, or that dream house? Is your relationship intact with your loved one, with your family, with your friends? Did you say you was going to improve on talking to your friends more, talking to your family more? Did you take the steps necessary to be able to do that? And that's what betting on yourself is all about, right? It's about taking responsibility for the outcomes. Yeah, this time we got to be intentional this year and say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, because I need certain things to change in my life. And you should always wish for that. You should always wish for a betterment, an improvement of your life. You should always want to elevate your life into something next. Ain't nobody telling you to be a billionaire. You ain't got to be. We could all be rich, right? But not everybody's going to be a billionaire. What you're looking for is happiness and peace, and knowing that your life has improved since the last time. But it's going to take some effort. Yeah, we're going to have to get uncomfortable. We're going to have to choose direction instead of comfort. I could tell you by guarantee that if you put in enough work into something that you're passionate about, it will work out. It might not be this year. It might not be next year. It might not be the year after that. But if you stay consistent and continue to do it, it will work out. Because again, listen, a bet isn't confidence. A bet is commitment. All right? Even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, we still got to commit to that. We still got to say, hey, no matter what, I'm going to stick to this plan, and this plan is going to work out. Even when it's been weeks, months, don't get discouraged. Just keep doing it. Keep pounding the ground. Keep hitting that pavement. Keep doing what it is that you need to do to be able to get to that next level. I mean, when I first started in radio, when I knew radio was a dream that I wanted to chase, I risked it a lot. I had young kids. I said this before. I had young kids. I was in a job doing like customer service at a company that I hated. I hated the bosses there, I just hated everything about it because I knew that wasn't my calling. I've said this before. And the risk that I took, knowing that I had a family to support, was very risky. You know what I mean? I ended up getting fired intentionally. So I could collect unemployment for about a year, because that's all they give you. And tried my hardest to try to climb up the ranks at the radio station. Now, again, that year could have came and gone, and who knows what could have happened at that point. But I said, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. Because I never wanted to wake up and kind of be, I hear so many stories like, oh, I wish, you talk to some OGs and stuff like that. Oh, I wish I'd done this before. I wish when I was younger, I'd done this. I wish when I was your age, I'd really taken the opportunity to do this. And you hear so much regret in their voices. And I never wanted to be that. I didn't want to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, when I'm retired and thinking to myself, damn, I wish I'd done that. No. So I took a risk. I took a leap. I bet on myself. And I said, you know what? After talking to at the time, I was with my kid's mom and everything. And I said, this is what I want to do. And, you know, I feel strongly about it. You know, it's going to be a rough road. We're going to suffer for a little bit. But I'm that confident that I know I can make it if I just put the time into it and I put the work into it. Because at the time I was juggling, you know, I had young kids. I was doing a 9 to 5. I was trying to do the radio. I was DJing. And, you know, I was doing it all. Barely had any time to do anything else. And I started noticing that it was affecting my kids, right? Because I wasn't really spending too much time with them. Because sometimes I'd do my 9 to 5 and then straight dip to the station to do whatever they needed to do, whether it's out in the streets doing promos or activations or covering somebody's shift at the station or just going in there just to, you know, to be seen, because you always want to be top of mind. And the timing my kids was starting to suffer. My JOB was starting to suffer too, because, you know, my track record was starting to look a little shaky, because sometimes I'd call out of the JOB and say, hey, I'm not coming in today. I'm sick. Meantime, I'm doing something for who knows what at the station, right? So after a while, I realized, hey, I can't keep doing this. This is too much. There's not enough hours in the day, and there's not enough of me in the world to be able to do this all at once. And some had to give. And it was either I stay locked in to the 9 to 5, which I hated, or I bet on myself and say, hey, listen, take this leap and see what happens. Worst comes to worst, you get right back into another job. You're back to a 9 to 5, and so on and so forth, right? But I never wanted to be on some, hey, you know, I never tried. And that's what I did. And it was scary. Taking a bet on yourself is scary. Taking a chance on yourself is scary because, again, the worst part of it is that you don't know the outcome. You could do all this work and not see the outcome. Funny story. There was a time when we were transitioning, for all y'all who know, on the station, the Breakfast Club was syndicated on the morning show. And then in came the change that they were now getting rid of the Breakfast Club. And they were putting a local morning show on there. They were bringing in new talent and everything. Now, mind you, this has been me going years and years and years grinding. Anything they asked me to do, I did it, right? Years and years and years. And I talked to the big dog. I talked to the boss himself, you know, our boss. And I was like, hey, yo, you know, I always made sure whenever he asked me to do something, I was on it. Hey, I need you to go out and get, you know, people talking about the station. Every time you hear a station say, like, you know, we love such and such station. You know, somebody had to go out there and record these people at concerts and catch them as they're leaving. And it was, you know, it's about a bunch of groundwork. You know, you're climbing up that ladder. You're paying your dues. And I remember I used to do that all the time because, again, at this point now, I had just recently left my job, actually. And when I say left, I mean I got fired. And I knew I was going to get fired, but I knew if I quit, then I really had no source of income coming in. Okay, so what I did is I said, listen, they're gonna have to fire me. I'm gonna have to collect, and while I'm collecting, at least that's gonna hold me and the family down while I try to make this other thing happen, right? And you know, that kind of happened. They gave me a part-time position at the station, which was nothing. I think I was working $11 hours a day, making $13 an hour. It was nothing. You know, the gas that I drove an hour there and back probably covered that. It was nothing. But again, it's build-up, because before I quit my job and I really committed more of my time to the station, you know, they would ask me here and there to do things. I would come in. It was all pro bono, honestly. It was all free. But, you know, once they seen the dedication that your boy had, they said, hey, here, come. Get a JOB. We'll give you a part-time job for now. Do weekends. And that's what I started doing. And I was still doing everything else that I did, but I was only clocking in about 11 hours, right? But I was still over there doing 40 plus, whatever it was. I was day in, day out. I was just on the grind because, again, I believed in myself and I said I had to give myself this chance, right? I bet on myself. So a little bit after that, like I said, the station was changing up the morning show. We were getting rid of the Breakfast Club, which was syndicated to us, and we were putting a more local show, more local talent on there. And usually that's the way radio works because, you know, if you start from the bottom, like anywhere else, you get bumped up. So if I'm doing nights, overnights, weekends, Eventually my next step would be maybe to do nights. And then the next step would maybe to do, afternoons, middays, mornings, something, right? And with them getting rid of the Breakfast Club, that means talent that was in certain places would be moving up, which means there would be an opening for your boy to come in. Now, I always wanted to do the night show. At the time, shout out to my bro G Spin, who actually at one point I called G Spin and G gave me some ill advice because he's an OG in this radio game. So shout out to G. But he, I believe at the time, was leaving, and also the morning show was opening up. So I went to the boss and I said to the boss, "Hey, yo, listen, I'm trying. I already know this is my opportunity. I've been putting in that grind. I need to come up." So I stopped by his office and I'm like, "Hey, can we have a meeting? You know what I mean? I would love to sit down and meet because, I just want to talk about my career." And he said, "Yeah, fine, no problem." Now, the meeting was, let's say, on a Wednesday. I probably talked to him on a Monday. The meeting was on a Wednesday at 10 a.m. We had set it up for the morning. I got no job. I'm not really doing much. I'm really only going into the station when they need me. Otherwise, I'm doing my weekend, so I'm pretty much home. You know what I'm saying? Just, doing other things, whether it's practicing at the crib with the DJing and all of that and trying to get my social media game up, blogging and all that. And it was the day of the meeting. And I was driving to the meeting, and an email came to everybody that said, "Hey, we're making changes. You guys have heard about the changes. Here are the changes. The morning show is going to move away from the Breakfast Club. And we're going to put so-and-so here, so-and-so here, so-and-so here." Like the whole new schedule came out, which showed everybody, like I said, who was doing nights at one point and weekends, bumping up. People were doing noon, went to the morning show. Middays was being, you know what I mean? Everybody kind of just rotated up. But you know what I didn't see in there? Me. Morning show covered, midday covered, afternoons covered, nights covered. I think I might have still been on weekends. I don't even know if they didn't even have me in the email. I'll be honest with you. Broke my heart. I'm driving to the meeting, okay? And I'm on my way to go meet with bro. And the email comes out, and they already got everything that they got set in stone. I'm over here thinking I'm going to go plead my case, you know what I mean? Do my little interview. I was jiggied up. Like, I was really trying to make an impression like, hey, listen, I'm ready for the next level. And here comes the email. My name's not even mentioning it. Didn't even feel like I was considered for none of it. And it broke my heart because, like I told you, I changed my whole life at the risk of my children. My children are young. They're not teens. They're not grown men. These are kids that still depend on their father and their mother. And I'm not one to let my family suffer in no way, shape, or form. And here I am making the decision to say, I'm quitting. I'm getting fired from my job. I'm going to go make peanuts, next to nothing, just so I could try to get this grind off the ground, so I can try to get this career moving forward, so I could try to get into a position at this station where I know I could get to. And in that email, not a mention. I swear, I think I might have shed a tear because it really hit me like, damn, why'd I put in all this work for? What am I doing here? What have I done? Why did I quit my job? My family is going down the drain. This is all the thoughts in my head. I didn't even go to the meeting. I seen that. I remember vividly. Every time I drive by this area, I remember this. I seen the email in my hand. I'm whipping to the spot. I said, why am I even going to this meeting? Bus took the exit, turned around, went back to the crib. And from there on out, I was in a depressed state for about a year. Gained weight and everything. In bed all the time, blinds closed, and just kind of going through the motions of life. It was a blur. Because again, what had I done? And I think even at the time, that this happened, me and my kid's mom might have broken up at the time too. I can't provide no financial support. What am I going to do? What decision is it that I made? Why would I do this to myself? I knew I should. These are all thoughts running through my head. I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have quit this job. I should have just kept my ass in this 9 to 5. What was I doing out here? My parents already been told me, don't be a DJ, be a doctor, be this. What am I doing out here? And it crushed me. But sometimes you got to go through things like this. I had to go through something like this to really get tough skin. You understand? And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to take all the risk on yourself without knowing what the outcome is. And the outcome might not show itself for a while because, again, fast forward a few more years after that, I'm on the morning show. So, yes, everything, all the work that I put in paid off big time. Everything that I wanted, I got. You know? And I wasn't, though this threw me into a depressed state, I didn't give up. Because again, in the thoughts of my head said, you didn't do all this just to get here. You just didn't do this just to be not considered. Whatever they didn't consider me for, whatever it was, and I don't know what it was because we never had this meeting, but I said to myself, whatever it is that bro never picked me or put me or felt confident enough to be like, hey, yo, this guy deserves, I think he's strong enough to have a spot here. I said, F it. I'm going to work 3 times as hard. I'm going to put my all in. Maybe I wasn't putting my all in before and I thought I was, because sometimes that's what happens. We make these goals, right? In the new year, we make these goals that say, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire this year. Hey, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna buy a house this year. I'm gonna do all these things. We this grand plan, this grand scheme of things, but do nothing whatsoever to make this right. Do nothing whatsoever to ensure that we got every opportunity and we have squeezed every stone of its blood to be able to be like, yeah, I've done all I can to make sure that this pops off. Because here's the secret, y'all. If you do that, if you really put everything into it, it will work out. I'm a living testament to that. It will work out. It will work out. I didn't get fired from the radio. I got laid off. They needed the money. I see some deals go up. I'm like, damn, did my check go to... We talk about that another day. But it wasn't because of my talent. God gave me this talent. But just because he gave me the talent, just because I had this dream, don't mean that the dream's going to work just because you say, hey, I want to have $1 million and you do absolutely nothing to do it. Yeah, you're going to have to go read some books. You might have to take a couple of courses. You might have to re-educate yourself on some things. You might have to go to some conferences. Yeah? We might have to do a lot of things that we normally would not do to really get to the goal that we're trying to set to, because those goals are not just going to lay on your lap. I don't care how anointed you are. Those goals ain't just going to come and boop and say, hey, yo, here you go. Here's the $1 million you was asking for. Here's the perfect marriage you was asking for. Here's the perfect relationship. Here's a smooth family relationship you wanted. Here's the dopest job you ever wanted in your life. Just here, take it. No. That's never going to happen. You got to be able to work in a space and be able to do the things that you need to do to be able to elevate. And it's hard work. Yeah, you gonna get bumped. Listen to me. I was ready to crash out for real. I was ready to crash out for real. I was ready to go up in those offices and be like, yo, the nerve of y'all to not consider me, all the work I done did, but something told me, nah, they didn't pick you for a reason. You can't, we sometimes might get a little prideful. We sometimes might get a little boastful. We might sometimes think that we a lot hotter than we think we are. That was a humbling moment for me, because it told me I hadn't put in enough work that I needed to put in. And that's why I said, I'm going to put in more work and I'm going to go harder on what's going on. Or I'm going to go harder on what I'm trying to achieve. And like I said, that's what I did. I went dumb stupid. Again, always that little resentment in my heart that said, damn, How they do me like that? But you can't let that stop you. You can't let that get you stuck. You can't let that deter you from your mission, right? And I kept working, and I kept working, and I kept working. And everything worked out. You know what I mean? My kids was good. BMs was not, over here being like, yo, why am I supporting these children by myself? And like I said, I always give her all the praises in the world because, she low-key held the family down while we were doing that. But it was a struggle. And it was a risk that I had to take. But no risk, no reward. And if you're not betting on yourself, listen, I see some people going into casinos and betting on, but I don't gamble. So I'm not really, blackjack, all these roulette, whatever y'all play out there. But y'all will put a lot of your money, thousands of dollars, spend hours inside a casino buying lottery scratch tickets, hoping you become the next billionaire. And nobody's saying not to do that. But if you can put that much intention into spending money and losing money, why you can't do that for yourself? Why you can't do that for yourself? Why you can't bet on yourself and be like, all right, cool, I lost this time, I'm not going to lose the next time? Because again, all of y'all who be gambling, that's what y'all do day in, day out. I lost, and every once in a while you catch a win, right? Every once in a while you catch a win. But in the entirety of gambling, anybody who's a gambler, you lose more money than you win. That's the little rat race that they put you on, right? But if you're willing to do that, why you can't do it for yourself? Why you not worth it? Why you not worth it? I think you are. I think you are. But you can't be scared. You can't be scared of like, oh, damn, bro. Like, if I do this, I might lose everything. And you might. You might. You might. Ain't not one person in this world that's successful. I'm talking about millionaires, billionaires. I'm talking about people who you admire and you look up to. Even on social media, you're looking at them and they been, damn, that, bro's driving this. He lives in this kind of house. He wearing this. Now, one of them people that you feel is successful have never failed. Multiple times, by the way. Failed multiple times. Because that's how you learn, through failure. Because if you never fail, then you don't know what you need to do to adjust your positioning. You don't know what to do to adjust yourself to know, okay, if you do this, this is going to happen. I ain't doing that again. But I'm still going to. And that's how you learn. Now, for me, again, I refuse to lose. When I quit my job and I said, hey, I'm going to live on unemployment for a year, I refused to lose. And by God's grace, I was able to get into a better position, get nights, get the morning show. I was able to but this was a passion that I knew what I wanted, and I wasn't not going to chase it. So that's what I'm saying. Chase your passion. You might be at a job that's steady, going, but you're miserable. You might be in a job where you're like, yo, this is this is paying the bills. I'm living good. But are you happy? I don't know. You might be in a relationship that you should have been done with a long time ago. But you're still holding on to it like, I don't want to leave. I'm comfortable. If I leave, I got to do this all by myself. I got to pay these bills on my own. But you're wasting people's time. Don't do that. You got someone you got to be. Be honest with yourself. I've said this before in previous episodes. Be honest with yourself. Stop lying to yourself. You know what you need to do. But the biggest thing is that these dreams that we have, these goals that we set for ourselves in this new year are not going to work unless we do the heavy lifting. If you do the heavy lifting, you do it honestly, you do it repetitively, you do it with intention, you don't slack on the days that you can't do it, you still up and at it again, you're going to move. The change is going to come. Whether that's your health journey, your wealth journey, your relationship spiritually, whatever it is, religiously, whatever it is that's been nagging you for all these years, whatever it is that last year you couldn't get accomplished because you maybe just said, nah, I can't do it. It's not in me. It is in you. Every single one of us has it in us to be great. Every single one of us has it in us to be great. It's whether you're willing to put in the work and be consistent and even sharpening your tools. Yeah, read a couple of books. Yo, they got a stat out here that says that the average person, and I don't know if this is just in America, but the average person reads 0 books. I'm one of them. I couldn't tell you the last time I read a book, like page to page. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, which is better than not reading at all. But there's even people who don't do that. But get a book that motivates you. Get a book that stimulates you. Get a book that makes you think like, damn, like, yeah, I could do this. Travel. Not for vacation. Travel. Go out somewhere in whatever line of business that you're trying to be in, whatever growth that you're trying to see. You're trying to buy a house? Go attend a housing seminar. Right? You're trying to make $1 billion? Go to a seminar that talks about building money and how to manage money and all that. Travel, not for vacation, but for business. Go educate yourself. And there's so many ways that we could do that. Education is everywhere. These phones that we have. I don't know where my other phone is, but all these phones that we have is seconds away from getting information that you might need. I'm on there every day trying to learn how to do this YouTube thing. I'm on there every day how to just, rise up this podcast. I'm on there every day trying to figure out, how to be a better landlord, how to get more property and things like that. But we gotta be able to pour into ourselves and give ourselves the chance. Again, just talking about it is not gonna do you no good. You got to sharpen your tools. You got to sharpen your sword. You're going out here to war. You're trying to go out here and really be something different. You're really trying to achieve something that you said that you wanted to achieve. Then do it. We all going to fall off the bandwagon every once in a while. I want to get into the gym a lot more. I want to get healthier. I want to get, you know what I mean? And this is the 5th day of Jan. I said, yo, Jan 1st, I'm on it. And sure enough, I think it was, not right after the club, but the next day, which was January 1st, I was in the gym at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Me and only like 5 other people. I don't like crowded gyms, so I wasn't trying to go during the day because, everybody be in the gym for the first month. But I was in there. 2 days later, I'm eating a pizza. Listen, we're all human, bruh. We're all human. But the next day after that, I was back in the gym again. I was drinking my water. I was making my shakes. I was eating my protein. You know what I mean? So we all fall down. We all fall down. But that's the only way you can get up. You got to get up, and that's the only way that you learn how to move forward. That's the way you learn to not do all the BS that you've been doing before. And once you truly say, yo, I'm really going to take a chance on me, your energy gets sharper. Your energy changes. And here's the fly part about this, right? Is that once you start seeing the results of everything that you're doing, it really builds your confidence, right? Whether you're in the gym and you're trying to do whatever, you're trying to lose weight, or maybe you're trying to gain weight, maybe you're trying to bulk up, maybe you're trying to be this muscle bound, whatever it is. But as you continue to do it, the first few months, we don't see no results. The first few months, the scale might not even move. The first few months, we don't really see much of a change. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing it. All of a sudden, so-and-so says to you, damn, you're looking good. You've been in the gym. You don't even see it for yourself because you see yourself every day. And that's when you start realizing, okay, so everything is starting to pay off. Yeah, I might not have got considered for that position at that time, but my work was still recognized. And honestly, that was a divine thing happening, telling me you're not ready yet. Because I think back to it, had I gotten that position, I probably would have not been that great because I hadn't learned anything. Well, let me not say that. I hadn't learned everything. By the time I got the morning show position, by the time they considered me and told me, yo, we want you to be part of the morning show, I knew how to run that station eyes closed. I could board up. I could crack the mic. I could be out in the streets. I could do everything but maybe program music. That's about it. I could do everything else. I knew how to answer. I could do live phone calls at the same. I knew how to do everything. At that time, I didn't. So it was a blessing in disguise that, because if you get this position now and then you fail, they're going to look at you and be like, oh, he wasn't ready. Get rid of him. Let's get somebody else. So just because it's not happening for you right now just means we got to work a little harder. Like I said, educate yourself. Like I said, get your resources. Like really build yourself up. Give yourself the opportunity to win. Everything is now personal. It's you. This is your chance to make 2026 bigger and better than any other year that you've ever had in your life. It's time to stop being complacent. It's time to stop being comfortable. It's time to stop having those excuses. It's time to start thinking that you're not worth it. So with it being 5 days into the new year, man, listen, there's no more countdowns. That's past. There's no more waiting. 2026 is here. It's active. And so are you. Yeah, we on new paths. Create that new path for yourself. Because I'm not walking into 2026 just saying, it's going to work out. Nah, I'm walking into 2026 committed to making it work out. No safety net, no guarantees, just ownership. And I hope you can join me in having that same kind of energy in 2026. Because that's the bet. It's Guy DJ Foreign, man. Thank you for rocking out with me here on the Foreign Frequency. If you're on YouTube and you're new to this, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell notification so you know when I drop videos. Don't forget to drop some comments. Throw me a hype so that way we can get this thing on the hype charts as well. And then you're listening on the podcast everywhere. Thank you again. All right. Y'all be good. Y'all be blessed. Take care of each other. I'm gone.